Hey, boys and girls. It is the weather report, a rare weather report. I have not been
an increasingly rare weather report.
Haven't been doing my job. I don't know. I just got so many things to do, and now Christmas is going to be even worse. So,
well, I know you're getting your Christmas mushrooms together to decorate and everything. So, you know, you got to have your priorities.
I know I have priorities. Yes, I worship the mushroom god.
Looks like Jesus does too back there.
Yeah, Jesus. You can see Jesus on my blanket. So my neighbor got me that blanket as sort of a.
Is that the good shroud that actually took a good picture?
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
You know, they have that Shroud of Turin, which is just a really awful picture.
Yeah. No,
this you think that they would do better, but there's the real one.
It's a pretty good picture, but I don't know if you can see Jesus back there by the fireplace covering a bunch of boxes. But anyway, yeah.
He also, I hear, covers sins. So
it does. Yeah,
that's the rumor.
Yep. So Andrew's here. So Andrew, are you there?
Andrew? Greetings, Andrew. Hey, put the names up.
Oh,
I'm here.
T. Oh no. T. Okay, got him. Duck of Death.
Yeah, who keeps calling me that? I think Benghazi keeps calling me that. So
yeah. Anyway,
you know what movie that's a reference to, right?
No, I don't.
Unforgiven.
Oh, really?
And you're unforgiven for not knowing that. Gene Hackman, when he beats the crap out of Richard Harris, English Bob.
Yeah.
Calls him the Duck of Death.
Wow.
Shouldn't that be the Duke of Death right now?
No, he was called I think it was called the Duke of Death. Was kind of his tagline, that character English Bob. And so to kind of insult him, he called him the Duck of Death.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, Jefferson Spatchcock has it right.
Anyway, Andrew, so I wanted to do a stream with you on embryology and pleiotropy and things like that. I got that book that Chris recommended, Dr. Thompson, and started reading it. I'm only on page 20 though because I get distracted, but I got a whole bunch of stuff on embryology that we could go through. Echinoderm embryology.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because that is very well understood, and the whole thing is really interesting. There was a man named Eric Davidson at was it Caltech? I think it's Caltech, and along with this lady named Peter and a few other people, he did this entire thing on gene regulatory networks, and he used the sea urchin as an example. I think I forget which one it was. There's a variegatus and there's a purpuratus, and it was one of those. And anyway, so most of what I've got 2 books on developmental biology, and both of them have a whole bunch of stuff on the sea urchin because we know a lot about it. And it's also a very simple animal. I'm not sure how many neurons it has, but it's not very many, and it just has a gut. And it's got some spines that it creates by secreting calcium and some sort of calcium magnesium mineral. Yeah, and the spicules. And it's really very interesting, and they go way back. So we've got a lot of fossils, not good fossils, because they tend to break apart. But we've got a whole history of them, and you can see some of the very early genes, like the Wnt pathway, the Wnt beta-catenin pathway, is preserved all the way through the animal kingdom, and it starts out with echinoderms. And those things you can't change without screwing a whole lot of things up, right? So that would be a really good example of a constraint in evolution.
Right.
And you end up with certain conserved genes. But then you can see how these different pathways construct the organism. And it's really interesting, especially with gene regulatory networks.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would like to do a special stream on that, but we both got to be ready, and I got to be bright.
Okay.
And the earlier, the better. So.
Okay. Yeah. Once I'm off, because next week is finals for me, so after that, probably I can get some research done, and we can. I don't know if you meant that late per se, but
no, that's
kind of what I'd be most free or most available.
What date is that? What date is that you're all done with? That you have a break?
Probably sometime after next Wednesday, maybe.
Does that have a number attached to it? What is it now? It's the 10th?
Yeah, it's the 10th. So let's see.
It's the 9th, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's the 9th. Yeah.
It's the 9th. Okay. I'm always jumping ahead. I like to jump ahead.
That's why they call you Speed.
Yep, that's why.
So I guess maybe the 15th, maybe.
Okay, the 15th. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll reach out to you.
I'll update you.
And is it possible that we get what time do you get up? What time do you wake up?
It depends. I can get up early if you need me to.
Okay. If we could do it in around 11 p.m., like 9 p.m. your time.
Yeah, 10, 11. That'd be good.
Yeah, that way my mind would be functioning a little bit.
Yeah.
It normally doesn't function much afternoon. So, I don't know. I'm already 8 hours.
The energy leftover is left in your brain.
Yeah, I'm 8 hours into my day, so I prefer to do slightly less technical things at afternoon. So anyway, but yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Anyway, that's the main thing I wanted to talk to you about. And did you see this Darth Dawkins thing on Jefferson Spatchcock's channel?
Was it the one with the funny picture on it, or I don't know. I've seen a
lot
of
Raw?
What's that?
Was that the one with Aaron Raw?
Oh, was that Jefferson or was that?
That was Jefferson and Aaron. Yeah, they had a great. It was a great.
Yeah.
I can't want to call it a show. I don't know what to call them. A great stream.
Yeah. Okay.
I saw the photo for that one.
Yeah. Okay. That's the Darth Dawkins Devolves episode 1.
Yeah.
And it's pretty comical. He quotes Kunin and talks about Stephen Gould on basically, and he's talking about how the fossil record doesn't support gradualism. It's just such a dumb thing to say. He's such an idiot.
It's ancient, is what it is. It's an ancient argument.
Yeah, it is.
Ancient, relatively speaking.
It's an argument from antiquity, Andrew.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
I'm going to be the jackass creationist who calls out fallacies.
Yeah.
Oh,
also, do want to say I did see your email captive desk. I just haven't gotten back to it. I've been really busy lately, so sorry about that.
Yep. Yeah, yes, you have. You didn't respond to my text even. Damn kid.
Mm.
Oh, I'm going to put this in the description of this Darth Dawkins video.
But anyway, is that like Bowser or something? I don't know. I know they did like It reminds me of something. I can't.
Talking about that picture. Somebody's
Yeah.
saying it's somebody played by Dennis Hopper in Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's from one of those Mario movies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Pretty interesting.
Well, I guess it's the voice of Dennis Hopper. I don't really see him putting on a mask that elaborate to act in.
But to sum the whole thing up,
King Koopa.
Darth is talking to he's talking to some guy here, and he's trying to hammer him about eldritch. Let's see here. Where is? I'm trying to figure out where the other guy is. Yeah, Jib Obdion. I'm not sure who he is. And he overtalks him, and then Darth comes up with a couple of quotes from Coonan and Gould. And of course, Gould wasn't talking about what Darth is talking about or how Darth interpreted it. And then he overtalks him, and he won't let him respond at all. He won't engage in a conversation. And then he calls him a 12-year-old and bans him and throws him out. Basically. So that pretty much.
He won't have a conversation because he doesn't understand one bit about evolution. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
from what I've seen of him.
His whole take is that it wasn't always gradual. Well, even with punctuated equilibrium, when they say it happened very quickly, they could mean as much as 10 million years.
Right. Him saying it's not gradual because of punctuated equilibrium, just like.
That is so stupid.
Shows he doesn't understand what gradual means.
Yeah.
To be frank.
And the whole thing with gradualism and evolution, I mean, that was kind of like settled a long time ago that it proceeds at different speeds.
Right.
On every lineage, right? Every
different organisms, yeah.
Yeah. There's long periods of stasis, and then sometimes there's rapid speciation, and that depends on, and that could be from bottlenecks or, geographical separation, or it could be from like those lizards out in California that basically, on the West Coast, all the way from Oregon to California, I think.
Right. This is kind of a misconception, I think, that needs to be cleared up more often, is that.
Speaking of misconceptions, have y'all seen Dapper Dinosaur's rebuttals to Robert Carter, one of Robert Carter's lecture he did at some church?
No.
It's just pathetic how bad this PhD biologist is.
How bad?
I'll have to find that.
Sorry, that was spontaneous. I apologize for interrupting you there.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
I just want people to let the world know it's like a 4-parter, and I think next week or whatever he'll be doing the movie version where he does the whole critique all in one thing, which is going to be about 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, let's see. Game dev stream live. Is it a live thing? I don't really like what YouTube did with these new tabs. So
are you on the right channel?
Oh, I'm on the wrong Dapper Dino.
Yeah, there's two
Dapper Dinosaur. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Dapper Dino YouTube. Dapper Dino. Yeah,
anyway, just to finish my thought earlier, the misconception I think needs to be cleared up more often is that evolutionary theory says, in order to explain the diversity in life we see, that things have evolved over time. But the reverse isn't necessarily true. It doesn't say that things must evolve over time.
Right.
Or not in a noticeable way, at least. Like,
exactly.
It's not the
It may just be a limbic system is more resistant to invaders and parasites and things like that, rather than outside physical appearance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like biochemical changes, that sort of thing.
Oh my God. Oh, no. Okay, I'm trying. No, Firefox. No. Shit. I'm trying to switch from Chrome to Firefox, and it doesn't have any of my passwords. And I'm like totally blown out of the water. It's just shit. Sucks. Anyway. Okay. So there's that. Darth Dawkins is an idiot, and I link the video so that people can go see just how bad an idiot he is if you can stand listening to that motherfucker.
I'll say he's ignorant, but he's honed his craft to such a point that you can't really tell the difference after a while.
Yep, there's that. Let's see what else is going on. Got a lot of stuff that's happened that I don't.
Yeah, I know that I saw LPP was going to do a genetics after show stream, but it never happened, and I was kind of surprised, but also disappointed.
Sad.
I guess. Sad because that's my whole topic. Like, does genetics support common ancestry or I think that's the debate he was going to review, as far as I know. But yeah, me saying I hope LPP does a stream.
I know. Okay, this is Maddox and Nuts. Right
Can
here.
we pause real quick and ask James what he's been doing with himself lately?
Yeah, we're going to get to James.
It's James.
Hi, James. Technically a person.
Sorry, James. Hey, James.
Yes, it's good to know that you're technically a person because sometimes I'm not so good with the technical things.
Fair enough.
Oh, you need to turn up your sound.
No, how about this?
Yeah, lean into it and scream.
Right.
Scream like a morning disc jockey.
See, I've got my gain turned down because usually it gives you guys feedback and I have to turn it down. So this time I came prepared. You can barely hear me.
Oh, but Speed's been changing systems.
Yeah, turn him up, Speed.
What's that? Oh, turn you up?
Turn his volume up, yeah.
I'm struggling. Okay, say something, James.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
That's better.
That's better.
Okay, we got it. Okay, I don't know what's going on.
So I looked up sea urchins, and they have 40 to 50 neurons.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Not a lot.
A few more than Darth Dawkins.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, they use a lot of the same neurotransmitters that we do.
Yeah, probably.
And they don't do a hell of a lot with the neurons, basically.
Well, I mean, we are both deuterostomes, technically speaking.
Yeah.
So we probably share at least some things in common. Going back.
I'm going to step away for a minute, so I'll be back whenever I can.
Okay.
Hi, Melody. It's good to see you.
They are very distantly related to us on the chordate vertebrate branch, but more related to us than worms.
Yeah. So there's for the audience, there's protostomes and deuterostomes, and we're on the deuterostome lineage, and it was previously thought that deuterostomes, when the blastula is forming, the anus forms first. It's the first hole to form, and then the mouth. It turns out there are a lot of exceptions to that. So for protostomes, for example, that also have that kind of arrangement, and those that don't. So it's kind of a bit fuzzy now, but the actual relationship of protostome versus deuterostome, the actual relationships there are still well supported.
Yeah, but most of the time, the anus forms first, right?
Yeah, for deuterostomes, protostomes, there are a lot of exceptions to the mouth forming first for them. It doesn't happen that way.
There's a little bundle of cells, and they invaginate basically at the anus end, and then it reaches up and it breaks through the embryo and creates a mouth second, which is really interesting how all that happens. And in echinoderms, but we'll get into this on the 15th. In echinoderms, it's has a lot to do with the skeleton, and the skeletal cells feed back into the gut, and it's really a remarkable thing. I've got a whole bunch of videos on it and a whole bunch of information on that, including the genes. But anyway, you were talking about Maddox. So this guy here, and you guys got to let me know if you can hear the sound here.
Okay.
No, do I have loopback running? Oh no, hang on a second here. I'll tab.
It does look a little like Maddox somewhat.
He talks the same game. So let's see. Oh, I don't have loopback running. Oh my God. I don't think that's going to work if I don't have loopback running. Oh, anyway, professional YouTube producers. Okay, so let's see if let me know if you can hear this now.
Denier without telling me.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Chrome did something, Chrome or StreamYard, so that basically sound no longer works unless that's why I started using Firefox. Anyway, listen to this guy.
You're a science denier. Oh, look, I'm an atheist or agnostic, and I don't see any engineering inside living cells. Tell me you're a science denier.
That's it. It's just a short. And this guy's got a whole bunch of shorts like that. And it's like, I don't see any engineering. And he's got all kinds of little pictures on his channel.
Well, it's fitting that they're shorts because you can't really make a long argument based on that.
Yeah, he's got he's got all kinds of shit here. He's got videos basically of the cell as a machine, that sort of thing.
No, I can't be an atheist because of biological translation, to name a few reasons. It is literally code and the machinery to turn that code into more machine parts. You've got the mRNA, which is code, not like code, it is actual code. If Morse code is code, mRNA is code. Then you have the ribosome. This is a machine to translate that code. Then you have the tRNA, that's bringing the amino acids to make this new protein that's coded in the mRNA. Right? I mean, this is very similar to a 3D printer. 3D printer goes layer by layer. This goes.
Oh my God, he sounds exactly like Maddox.
This is the exact same word.
That's insane. That's like saying puddles are 3D printed because that's how rain works.
Yeah. It's just, oh my God, this machine analogy. Well, these videos, these cartoon videos that they do that are used as teaching tools to tell you what the chemistry does when it works, right, are very deceptive. The cell doesn't look anything like that, and molecules, of course, you can't even look at them because of light waves, and it's just so. It is such a disservice to misinterpret them that way. They do what they do very well. They show you the chemistry, they show you the 3D shapes of the molecules when they work, but a lot of times. There's some question as to whether or not they actually work that way. Like those little walkers you see on the microtubules, they're carrying little spheres. That's a real common video.
Yeah.
There is some debate as to whether or not the mechanism actually works like that. It might be an entirely different kind of chemistry that they're dealing with. And we become attached to our little cartoons, and these guys, they don't understand that an analogy like, okay, the cell is a machine or the cell is a factory. The cell is a factory in exactly one way. It makes things. It starts with one chemical and produces other chemicals. But that's where the analogy breaks down, because factories do not make things for themselves, for the factory to run, right? The factory doesn't manufacture its own cool air or heating in the winter. It doesn't manufacture its own water.
Right.
And
well, I mean, like, what about all the cells out there that are parasitic, basically? They don't make anything at all. They just kind of steal from other cells, like not even talking viruses here.
And the other thing is factories do not divide and create two factories, right? Otherwise, Detroit would be a real mess right now with all those abandoned factories.
But Speed, you do realize you're missing the big picture here.
Yeah.
I want to know why the intelligent designer designed Ebola and smallpox and the Black Plague and flesh-eating bacteria and
because of sin.
Because he loves.
I was trapped watching my dog because I have a hole in the fence, and hearing this conversation going on, and hearing that guy, that engineer guy, say what he said. I was just screaming and shaking my hand at the computer because, number one, he says, I'm an atheist and I don't think that there's, well, if you're a scientist, you don't begin any of your papers or any of your books or treatises or whatever with that phrase. Being an atheist, being a
Hello, I am an
Christian,
atheist.
being
And
a
I would like
Buddhist, it does not matter in science. What matters is conclusions drawn from evidence.
Right.
So there's that one thing where he misunderstands. And number two, what scientists are saying that, oh, it's definitely engineered. The conclusion is it's engineered.
Yeah.
A very small subsection of crazies known as young Earth creationists and even intelligent designers. And they look at it through very jaded glasses.
I mean, at most, you could say it's engineered by evolutionary processes.
Right. And if they are having conversations with real scientists, what are those real scientists saying back and forth about what issues they're raising? Are they really raising intelligent design issues in the literature? So tell me you're not a scientist without telling me or tell me you're a science denier without telling me you're a science denier. Begin a phrase with, I'm an atheist, or, then you're going to be the science denier. A person who believes in science would not even think that way. A person who believes in their religion and their dogmatic view of things will begin a sentence like that.
Right. Yeah, you should probably highlight Icarus's comment here.
Icarus really deserves all his comments to be highlighted. Yeah, do they start the paper? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, there were some comments on this session, and I got into it a little bit because I'm baiting this guy. Roland Watts said, I reckon the graphics of those molecules were done by engineers. We have good evidence that engineers do computer graphics. Which is really succinct way of saying, yeah, that's a cartoon graphic done by an engineer, basically.
Right. Well, you could say, well, these computer graphics are infinitely more complex, so maybe an infinitely complex being made it. And of course, the person would come back and say, well, we know computer graphics are made by people. Well, if you know that for computer graphics and you don't know that for the same kind of knowledge for God an intelligent designer for life, then how can you make the same connection there?
Yeah. So he goes on to say, as for the molecules themselves, we have good empirical evidence that they came about by natural processes called common descent modification. We have no good evidence that invisible engineers can make any material things omnipotent or not. That such entities exist and can do stuff is a bit of a hypothetical speculation.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, and I think I replied. I mistakenly replied to him. Let's see, where are we? Anyway, to actually reply to you, to this Roland, yes, spot on. Those videos are engineered. Actual chemistry and actual cells is vastly different to what our educational animations depict. See some of Daniel J. Nicholson's paper on the cell as a machine to get an idea. So anyway.
I mean, when you look under a cell in a microscope, it's not a neat little organized thing. It just looks like a big blob with little compartments in it.
Yeah, I saw a really good video earlier on that. That kind of showed what cells really sort of look like. But it was also a cartoon. Let's see if I can find it here by doing a quick, oh my God, a swirl, not a cell, a swirl. A swirl. Okay. No, I'm not going to find it with a quick video search. But anyway, it showed basically for every protein, within the radius of that protein, there's another protein. So the cell is just absolutely packed with all these jiggling molecules going, it would look like they were going about 60,000 miles an hour if we could actually see.
Constantly bumping into each other.
Right. And some of them stick and some of them don't. And there's just so much misinformation from these creationists. We have to keep them out of education, or it's gonna be devastating. I don't know.
Well, they've already made an impact already, so we just gotta limit it to that extent.
Yeah. Yep, because they run everything through that little funnel in their head, that turns it into some kind of biblical garbage, and it's just absolutely crazy. I don't understand why do they insist on this? It's like, God, I was thinking about this earlier. If you look at life through naturalism, right? That if you grant them that God created the universe with the Big Bang, okay, and God fine-tuned the periodic table of elements and quantum mechanics so that it would produce this array of elements, all related and all pretty much made of the same stuff, so that they worked to give us carbon chemistry, which creates all this complexity. But if you look at all of naturalism and you look at that, what you're really doing, if you were a good Christian, you would be worshiping all of that, all the way down to quantum mechanics that gave us carbon chemistry that allowed the complexity of evolution and life to happen. But they don't do that. So they're blaspheming their own God, their own miraculous God, because a really remarkable God would have started with that simple periodic table of elements, right? And just splashed it out there and created all of this. That all of this was a result of his wonderful work at the Big Bang. But they deny all of that. They think God is an idiot that created some sort of gray matter universe, and he had to go down and with his little fingers, he had to tinker with every little piece of DNA and create life. And that is just a stupid God.
Right. So as some people have put it, stop telling God what to do. Go out and find out how he did it.
Yeah.
If you want to think of it that way.
I mean, it's blasphemous. So creationists are the worst blasphemers of all when it comes to marveling at God's remarkable universe, And it's just, and all they would have to do is shut the fuck up and read the science and not have an axe to grind. I mean, what the hell is wrong with them? So we were talking about that the other day, James, actually, about, and I think it's this whole thing about othering. It's there's small groups of people that have to feel that they've got the one, that they've seen.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
they're the lone Galileo out there.
Yeah, exactly. And they have this little nest of people, and they just hate everybody else and diss everybody else, and it's just crazy shit. People do that, and that's why the other day we were talking about climate change and why that is the one thing that they deny that man does, to the earth, but yet they condone everything else that man's sinful nature did, but they won't condone that man's sinful nature is fucking up the climate,
Yeah.
And it's just this little nest of right-wingers that have a platform. I got a video from a friend the other day talking about how the vaccine causes calamari-like blood clots in people and kills them, right? And you go ahead and look into that, and it's the Johnson & Johnson there were a few immune reactions, I think, where they had a few people that actually died out of the 30 million that got the vaccine. Right. And there wasn't a whole lot of good evidence that it was a result of the vaccine. So they basically put the vaccine back out in the public, right, without modifying it. So but I mean, they're still going on about this shit, and it's because we gotta, okay, that's the other thing that they picked out of all the fucking viruses and infections out there, polio, fucking measles, all that shit. They picked the coronavirus and make that a political topic. And I think the only reason they did that is because it embarrassed the hell out of Trump, and their main man got embarrassed by by COVID. But that's the only virus and the only vaccine that they're pushing back on. The other ones, they give them to their kids. It's like, what the fuck, people? Think a little bit. I just don't get it.
I don't know.
Yep.
Can we highlight Icarus's last comic? Because that's an interesting argument there. There's a lot of things wrong with it, though.
Which one is that?
Yeah, so he says on Twitter, there's a guy who argues that animals evolved from plants because animals eating plants necessarily came after plants developed photosynthesis.
Okay.
So many things wrong there, but let me just say there is not just animals and plants.
Yeah.
So
Viri and fungi and many other things.
I want to say more on this, but it's too dumb to think about right now.
Yeah. Yeah, just because, we eat them doesn't mean we evolved from them. I don't.
Right.
Here's something just for you, Speed.
What's that?
It's on the screen.
Genealogies containing a bitching hummus recipe, though.
I can use the same logic against creationists. We eat chimpanzee meat sometimes, so we must have evolved from chimpanzees. See how that's the same kind of logic.
Oh shit! I have some lion's mane mushrooms in the refrigerator that I have to cook up. How about that? I'm in the fungi lately, and it's really
fungi are really important. So,
put the fun in fungi.
Yeah. Yeah, I like fungi better than fungi, but people say it both ways. But fungi, they are remarkable. I mean, they're like these huge creatures that basically have personalities, and they have behaviors, that alter significantly based on the environment. And there's some really cool stuff, and they're super. They're very fibrous. They're almost like neurons, like Avatar, right? It made a big thing of that, the movie. But they're
so you're murdering them. You're a serial killer. That's what you're telling us.
No, I'm just eating their genitals.
Well, I think the mushrooms want to help. I think the mushrooms want to help. So all the what is it that
psilocybin?
Psilocybin. Yeah. You can tell that Speed and I have both developed new hobbies recently.
Psilocybin. Yeah.
Psilocybin.
But there's just this remarkable, they have these little tiny tendrils that just dig into everything, like minerals, rocks, motor oil. For God's sake, you can grow them on motor oil. And then and as they dig into the forest floor, they communicate basically all sorts of messages about what they're finding. And they actually communicate with the trees. And they have a deal with the trees. The trees give them some sugar and they give them some minerals.
Yeah.
And it's just and the evolution of these things is also very remarkable. Almost every pair of spores will create a variation on, some theme. Like it makes it very difficult to find edible mushrooms, I think.
I wish Geddy Lee and them had written about mushrooms in their 2112 album. Because, he did that one about the trees and the oaks and the whatever other tree that was coming to an agreement.
I don't know.
But why not talk about how mushrooms help out trees?
Yeah.
And how they've come to a working agreement.
Well, guess what that fungi tree connection's called? Do you know?
Oh shit! Yeah, there's a cool name for it. What is it?
Yeah, it's the Wood Wide Web.
The Wood Wide Web.
The Wood Wide Web. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. But
have you also heard of slime molds? Apparently, they've done experiments with them. They can learn. They can. They've actually found solutions with them to the traveling salesman problem. So they take this maze with different pathways, and basically it'll spread out and try to find it'll spread out and eventually find the shortest path to the food they place in there, and then it'll just retract the rest of it, and so it'll only it'll eventually only travel that shortest path to get to the food and get it the rest of the cell. So it's pretty
I think
cool.
that sounds like the nerdiest field of specialization in science. What do you do? Oh, I teach slime modes how to take the shortest path.
Yeah,
But
and
still, that's important to know. I'm not making fun of science. I'm just saying that sounds nerdy.
I mean,
And
I can relate to that. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to say there's also so that's for single cell slime molds, I think, or plasmodial slime molds. So it's all just one cell with multiple nuclei that just spreads out. But there's also slime molds that are single cells most of the time, but they aggregate when conditions get rough. And so I don't know, maybe that can help us better understand the conditions under at least certain organisms evolved multicellularity.
yeah, like a mushroom will, grow its little web under the earth as long as it has food. It'll in good conditions, like temperatures high, and it'll keep growing and spreading and spreading. And then when the temperature drops or something weird happens in the environment, it senses that, and it basically comes up to the surface, and then it starts joining up all these little tendrils, and they create these little tufts. And from that tuft, a little tiny bead appears on it, and that turns into a mushroom. And what they're doing is they're kind of panicking. It's like time to reproduce, and it's like, and so they sense their environment, and based on their environment, they have different kinds of multicellularity. And a mushroom is like a weird, reproductive kind of cellularity, and it starts with these different tufts. But depending on the conditions, they'll form different kinds of networks and different kinds of structures, even under the ground.
Right. And people might ask, well, why did they give up their lives, basically, these cells, their lives basically to do that? Well, if you think about it in terms of like genes and kin selection, if all these cells are closely related to one another, and in this case share pretty much the same genes, then you're also helping your neighbors and therefore your genes move on to the next generation. And in fact, you can probably with a mushroom spread out your spores a lot further than if you were just a single cell and spreading them out that way,
And if you're a parent, you'll stop a bullet for your kid. So.
Yeah.
Every parent knows that. Kind of the same thing. But they're very interesting. So next summer, I'm probably going to get arrested because I'm going to be out in Minnesota Valley with a shovel digging up fucking fungus everywhere. looking at the infrastructure down there. And I've got signs in my backyard that say, no humans are supposed to pass this point, like at our property line, because it's a protected environment or some fucking thing. And I'm out there cutting buckthorn and fucking...
Wow.
Spraying Roundup on paths to make paths
You
down.
might want to find some botanists or whatever from around the community that can point you to a direction that you won't get shot or arrested in.
Fuck them. I don't need no stinking laws and rules. Especially when it comes to the city and the park out here. I think it's called, what the hell is it called? Hopkins Park. Yeah, Hopkins Park. The one that goes.
You atheists are just always looking for new rules to break. I swear. I swear to God.
We just want to sin, right? We just want to press it.
So going back to Maddox and the whole climate change thing, I've heard that he is one denier, or does anyone know if that's true or not? I've heard rumors.
I think I think he's pushed back on. He's made fun of scientists that believe in man-caused climate change.
I'd be interested in reviewing it when he said that. That'd be interesting to look at.
I think it was just a thought. I'd have to find it from a couple of years ago.
I know it's here and there, but yeah, it would just be interesting to review one of those arguments.
But you'll notice when Maddox does that, when he weighs in on those things, he never commits. Like he won't even commit to young Earth creationism when he's pressed. But he'll argue against somebody as if he's a young Earth creationist. But then when you ask him point blank, he won't commit to it. and he doesn't go to church. And I don't think he's a Christian at all. I think he does YouTube because he's kind of an asshole. He kind of likes to condescend. I think that's the only reason he's on YouTube. He very seldom commits to a position.
Yeah. Well, except the whole code thing.
Code. DNA is a code.
Yeah.
That's an easy one to commit to because DNA is a code.
Right. No, well, almost no disagreement there.
Yeah. Depending on how you define code.
Yeah.
But the way he defines code is there has to be a code maker and a code reader, right?
Right, which doesn't follow.
Yeah, which doesn't follow. That part is not true. It's not a code by John's definition of a code, but he'll insist it's a code, and I'll go along with him. It's a code. So fucking what? I don't know. Anyway, so what else can we do? We could open it up.
Yeah,
So I have a question about the Darth Dawkins Christmas special. Who created that? How the hell did they do it?
Oh,
that fake commercial.
Who did that? Darth Dawkins singing.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if I can find that.
Yeah. Oh, I think I know what you're. Yeah, that was funny.
So Godless Girl recently shared it, but I saw some other. It's from somewhere else. Like I just don't know who originally.
Okay,
but it sounds like him, so I want to know how they did it.
Yeah. Godless Girl link tree. Okay, Godless Girl does not link things in her description. Unfortunately, she's a channel that.
Well, she says thank you, Penis Tooth 2910, for permission to take this from your channel.
Oh, here we go. Penis Tooth.
Okay. Penis Tooth 2910.
Let's see. Let's take a look at that because it is Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, almost Christmas.
Yeah.
Aren't all Christmas songs in public domain?
Yeah, you should be. Darth Dawkins Christmas collection. Oh, it's 221. Let's see. Let's see what he said.
This holiday, grab some eggnog. Let's gather around the fireplace and celebrate the birth of our blessed Lord with the soothing sounds of a very special Darth Dawkins Christmas collection.
Is this an advertisement?
753 wonderful hits.
Here we go. Shut the fuck up. You're totally clueless, so stop with the shit. Don't ever talk to me, you're being rude. I'm old enough to be your fucking father, dude. Shut the fuck up.
All your favorites are here in one spectacular collection.
You come into my room, you restore my mic, you fucking troll. Tubi's a fucking asshole. I can't tolerate anymore. I've had to quit this server 4 fucking times before.
Digitally remastered and expertly rendered in high quality audio. Never before has such a splendid compilation.
Are you guys catching these titles?
Yeah.
You're begging the question, sir. You're acting like a historical woman on her period. Oh my goodness.
Been put together.
So
anyway, I linked it in the description, so I don't want to play the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's got some good. They got somebody who sounded a hell of a lot like him, I think, to do that. I don't know where he got it, but so Penis Tooth, eh? Oh God, I gotta subscribe. I'm not subscribed. Very good. Darth Dawkins debunked the website Surplus Revenge, or let's see, where the hell? Anyway, that's a little treat.
Wonder what Darth Dawkins thinks on climate change.
Oh my God, it's probably the same fucking thing.
Probably the same.
It just pisses him off, because oil. Like the Republic, okay, I used to be that kind of a conservative, right? And climate change was one of the things that I was not willing to believe in. And I started believing in it when I actually figured out how much carbon dioxide is in the atmosphere and how much we're putting into the atmosphere every year. And it turns out to be 1%. So we're putting 1%, 1/100th, which is a fuck ton, every year into the atmosphere. And then I said, oh, yeah, they're right. Because I fucking figured it out. I used a calculator, you know?
Right.
But the reason why climate change bothered me back then, when I was a rather wealthy fucking Republican, is because they were kind of telling me that I couldn't drive my big honking fucking 400 horsepower car. And they were kind of telling me that I had to turn my temperature down in my house. And they were kind of telling me that I was going to have to forego some luxury, right? And that's the fear that basically needles into the mind of the Republican or right winger.
Right.
Fear that the immigrants are coming and they're going to change our culture, you know, and all that shit. I mean, those things basically are behind those beliefs. But when I took the calculator out and I figured that out, I couldn't deny it. But these fuckers, they would deny it even if they calculated it, which kills me.
They're politically motivated, basically.
Yeah. But I was politically motivated back then, but that was undeniable. The fucking calculator.
But you're not everyone's speed.
Yeah, but back then I was like these fucks. I mean, I had a lot of fucking shit that I changed in the last 25 years. That because you know I started out the trajectory as a Democrat from the Iron Range farmer labor, right? I was in the steel union. My dad was a farmer and in the steel union, and so and then after I started making money, I started to slowly switch over. And by the time Ronald Reagan came on, my kids were calling him Grandpa. I told them that Ronald Reagan was their grandpa because they didn't have a grandpa. So anyway, I mean, I was a fucking dyed-in-the-wool Rush Limbaugh listening Republican. And what I did is I examined each of those values one at a time over the last 25 years. And now I'm a flaming woke liberal. Because fuck, it just doesn't hold up to scrutiny. That's a problem.
Yeah.
So like James, you came from Scott, you came from a religious background. Andrew and I didn't. So I can't understand why anybody would ever believe in that stuff. But then I came from that wing background, and I'm really thankful that I was that way, because now I understand the thinking and the feeling behind it. And a lot of it was emotion. It was fear. Like immigration was based on fear that we were going to lose something precious and never be able to replace it, you know? And it's like, now I'm like, fuck, I don't care what changes. I don't care if up becomes down. You know, I don't care.
In some, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just want to fucking do the best I can to know what's true.
Yeah.
And then as far as our culture changing, God, I'm all for it. Let's change. Let's fucking change all.
We need to change at this point. Right.
Like, I don't care. I mean, I'm not afraid it's like we're going to lose the precious 50s, 1950s in the United States, where everybody wore a fucking wife beater t-shirt, and actually beating your wife was sort of condoned. It's like, fuck, change that. I don't care. Anyway.
Yeah.
Someone put out the link yet? Should we open it up?
Oh yeah, we could do that. Scott's still around, or copy?
I'm here, and I just put it out there.
All right, thanks, Scott.
Okay. You are welcome. Somebody get on in here.
No, we usually don't get any people in here, but we can try.
I see Maya's out there, AR is out there, as well as Dave, aka Captive Desk.
Leo's out there. Hey, Leo.
Leo, come on in.
Does Maya sometimes join us?
Hey, Nidmos.
I think Maya joined us once, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'd like her to join us again. She's always welcome. I hope she knows that.
Oh, I missed it.
But I bet she's at work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, probably true.
That was
So yeah, I agree with. Go ahead.
What? What did you
Let's
say,
say I
Jay?
agree with a lot of things I want to change about the culture, but I don't want to change them. I'm so convinced that humanity will not exist in 100 years. I don't want to help fix anything. I just want to take care of me and mine, and let
Oh,
it burn.
that's pretty dark.
I
100,
know, but it's realistic if you think about it.
yeah.
Yeah, but you see, I can't do that. I got grandkids now.
Yeah, but the problem is there are 8 billion of us now. Is it 8?
I think, yeah.
I think it's crossed 8, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, James, they're not going to get us all. And the ones that are left are going to be like those fucking apocalypse movies, you know?
Right, Mad Max.
I mean, it's
Sure.
going to be worse, you know? It's going to be shittier. I don't know.
But that's kind of my thought. You got kids, you got grandkids. Maybe they're going to have kids someday. If you just focus on you and yours, then you can
Yeah,
help.
I think I'm just going to teach or take my grandkids to kung fu class. So in case the nuclear bombs go off, they can still do karate and kung fu, like Eli from the Book of Eli.
Apocalyptic survival 101.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
There you go.
me and my son have every weekend we have zombie drills, you know, zombie attack drills. You know, we get out there with the AR and we, you know, just spray bullets, and we go through this whole ritual every weekend because of
Nice.
the apocalypse.
Hmm.
You got to be ready.
Fun.
You got to be ready for anything.
Sure. Well, I mean, I've got a plan. It involves hijacking a cruise boat. You know, get a big cruise ship. The zombies probably can't swim.
Yeah, your own cruise ship.
Yeah, you got your own
probably
city on the ocean.
considered a meteor might hit the cruise ship, so that might not work.
James, have you actually seen the movies? You know fucking well there's going to be a zombie somewhere on there, and that whole cruise ship is going to end up being zombies.
Yeah, that's why you got to assume they are and get your posse, you know, with your guns, and you go
Yeah, make
through
sure
and sweep.
you have access to your own private. The captains usually have a pretty good boat that they can escape in.
Yeah.
They don't escape in just a life raft. They have a big motorboat, utility thing that they can just zip around and oversee all the lifeboats.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't escape. I wouldn't even bother. I'd just go raid a ammo store and then come back with whoever I can find that's not a zombie yet, and we just
Yeah.
sweep the boat. And I'd be like, if we run, we're just going to be running to the land where there's more zombies and no way to protect ourselves. We might as well make our stand here.
I would like to live on a cruise ship. That would be a perfect size house for me.
Yeah.
I would actually enjoy that. I always wanted about a 10 million square foot house.
Well, but then you couldn't find any fungi to dig up.
On the cruise ship?
Yeah.
Well, there's got to be something in the ocean. Well, I don't know.
All you need is a sea bag, some dirt, and some spores.
Yeah, maybe.
It's going to be dark. It's going to be moist.
Maybe.
So you can always grow something.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go onto land during the day.
Yeah, you could find a small island, where there are no zombies. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
What the hell's isn't that Epstein Island available?
Yeah, but it's gonna have a bunch of 12-year-old zombies. I don't want to go there.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my
That
god,
was just wrong.
That was even darker. That was even darker.
That was even
I
darker.
want it darker. Yeah.
There you go. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Who the hell's that artist that sings the song "I Want It Darker"?
I'm sorry to hear that, Dave. Hope your friend feels better soon.
Yeah, I read about yet a newer strain of COVID. It had a lot.
To be expected.
Some sort of offshoot of Omicron.
Oh, it's like XBB or something like that.
Yeah, it's so it's still out there. People are getting it.
Oh, kitty.
There's a Snack. Hi, Snack. Say hi, Snack.
Hey, Snack.
Snack sleeping. Finally. God damn this cat. He's an amazing acrobat. He's been on top of everything. He's a real problem. he got neutered, and he came home. And at the vet, he was up right after surgery, pawing everybody, trying to get out of the cage. And then I got him home, and I expected him to be all, like drowsy and sleep because he just, had his balls cut off. And no, he tore around the house for like 8 hours, just terrorizing everything and everybody. The surgery had the effect on him of us getting manicured. It's like, oh, I went for a manicure. It's like, yeah, you did. Anyway, he's pretty tired.
It looks that way.
Tired little puppy, finally.
Did you just say puppy?
Finally, yeah. We want to ship him to Abu
No,
Dhabi.
you called him a puppy.
Oh, I always call my cats puppies.
Why?
But I don't know. Back in 1990, I think it was 96, I had a St. Bernard that was 240 pounds, and Chewy. And Chewy came home one day. We lived on a farm, and he had a tail sticking out of his mouth, and it was a kitty tail. So I pried Chewy's jaws open, and there was a little cat sitting on his tongue, shivering. Perfectly fine. He didn't hurt the cat. It was just inside of Chewy's mouth, right? The St. Bernard. So I pried it open, pried the cat out, and we named it Little Puppy. I don't know why. So I've called them puppies ever since. And then Little Puppy had Eugene and Death Star. Death Star got eaten by coyotes, and Eugene just passed away 2 years ago. So Eugene lasted for like 20 years, but that all came from Chewy's mouth. But these fucking St. Bernards, they'd come home with rabbits inside their mouth, and they'd open their mouth to show you the rabbit, and the rabbit would be alive, sitting on their tongue, shaking, right? Like, and then
tell me their little tails are shaking too.
Yeah, and then they'd go crunch.
Oh,
yeah.
Talk about taking a dark twist.
Oh yeah, I took
it. Got dark again.
I had a guy over once, and my dog came on. He had a little fucking bunny in his mouth, and he showed us Midas, St. Bernard, showed us the bunny, and this guy, I didn't know him. He was hooking up a trailer that I had rented, and he agreed to pick it up at my place. And he looked at Midas, and Midas went crunch, and that guy just jumped in his car and took off. He was horrified. I was horrified.
You know, the darker thing is you think the dog was trying to impress you and make you proud. That's the dog's message of, I can do the same to you.
I can do this to you. Yeah, I'd watch St. Bernards take a cow leg bone and chew it in half, just crunch, and it's like, oh, fuck. Do I want to piss this thing off? Yeah, but they thought I was boss.
What's that movie, Stephen King, Cujo? Was that a St. Bernard?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, they could be formidable if they ever got pissed off. But you very seldom see them pissed off. So
they could be weaponized. I wonder if the military has St. Bernards that they're working on.
Yeah, pretty incredible. And hey,
it's Sir Nestle. How you doing?
Sir Nestle.
Doing great, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, Speed, did you get my message by any chance? Like a few weeks ago, I think.
Oh, what the fuck? Really?
On community, on YouTube community.
Oh, damn. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. Anybody else that has sent emails to Speed and want to confront him about it, come on aboard.
Yeah.
Here's another StreamYard link. Just come on, and if you have anything you want to confront Speed about, just come on in, and he's here.
It will normally be something related to the fact that I've got a 30-second attention span. and if I got the email, I was probably like, oh my God, this is important. And then 30 seconds later, it's like, what's happening?
Squirrel.
What email? Squirrel. Yeah, squirrel. Yeah. Let's see.
But by the way, does anybody know, is it Otangelo still around? Did he finally give up? Or
he hasn't. He's been writing books. He's writing one on.
Yeah, he's been apparently writing a book about the Shroud of Turin.
Oh no.
Yeah, so he's just really loving authorhood. Honing his writer's craft, I guess. Needs a lot of honing.
Was it under? Oh my God! Why haven't you guys watched Dr.
Yes,
Chris
yes,
Johnson?
that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can find the post.
Who? Jeffrey Dawkins?
That is like one of my favorite guys to listen to on the Origins of Life research. Has recently, or at least recently, a few months ago, made a very good talk. Again, like every one of his talks is very good, but here he does something new that I have not heard him argue about, and that is really fascinating to see him arguing about it.
I don't see it in comments.
Really? It's perhaps because I included a link and maybe it got marked as spam.
No, why. Other people have included links, and that's not a problem. Maybe it was on latest channel to promote.
No, it's on the oh my God, why haven't you all guys all watched Dr. Thompson's video?
Yeah,
but I will put it in the private chat then, copy pasting in the private chat. There it is. That's my comment that I made on that.
Okay. Okay.
Like I was just wondering if you had any interest in going over this video, perhaps with Dessel also. But I think Dessel would also be a good guy to listen to this and have his thoughts on this. It's really interesting.
Let me get rid of that. Get rid of that.
And is Dessel still mad at you, Speed?
I don't know. No, he's not mad at me. He just hasn't been around. He did come on the channel once, I think in the after show. I think he's mad at YouTube. He just doesn't like, for some reason, he's really reluctant to be visible on YouTube. So this one? So
yes.
David Smith, Eric Smith, information
yes.
Gateway to Life. So what?
So that's one of the authors of the book that I recommended to you a long time ago, you know, right?
Oh.
Smith and Horowitz. Or Morowitz, yes.
Yeah. I do have that book.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something. 39 minutes.
Of course. I don't say that you have to go over it right now. I'm just saying, like, maybe you would want to go over it sometime with me and Dessel, perhaps, or something.
Yeah.
Let
me put it in my queue so I can watch it. Cool. Let's see. I gotta get back to the video. I'm gonna also post a link to it in the description. If I can get to that. Okay. Anything else you guys want to discuss, or should we shoot it ahead?
I noticed that capturing Christianity is like begging for money again. Like every week he begs for money again.
Really?
Yeah, he can't seem to pay the bills.
Like, you mean Patreon and stuff like that? Is that
like when he makes YouTube streams, basically letting everybody know he's got way more debt than he's getting income, and if you guys could just help out and join my, and subscribe and donate to my cause, I can keep doing these wonderful videos in service of the Lord. So
I'll bet right now I guess that's volunteer. Never mind. I was thinking that Salvation Army was looking for Santa Clauses.
Right? Yeah, they don't.
I guess they don't pay you for that.
No, I don't think so. So I give him a hard time. Like they actually had a really great stream the other night with what's the doctor's name? The guy that was just on Myth Vision recently, where he talks about how the wiring in our head that makes us predisposed to the idea of God came from
Matthew or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It came from it came from the formative years when we were an infant, and so that kind of
reach for our mother figure, and
I was surprised they had him on there. Derek stopped by briefly to say hi because he understood that they were interviewing a guest that Derek likes, and they don't normally do that, but it generated a lot of interest. I was there in the chat, and I gave him agree. Peter W. was there and just argued with everything that I said, and Peter. And he's not even nice about it. Like, Peter can't just, disagree. He's got to be condescending and awful about it. And it's just whatever. It doesn't bother me. And there wasn't a whole lot of real discussions in the side chat, but it was a fascinating discussion. And you could tell by the end of it that the Christian that he was arguing against was visibly and audibly, like, off of his game. Like, he was shaken. Like, you could tell that he was almost quivering in his voice. Like, he just, it just didn't set well with him. Like, it was starting to get through and you could see it. Not that that was wonderful. But it was a pretty good stream. But no, I don't normally recommend people go watch Capturing Griftianity, but I thought that was pretty good.
So you're saying he was quivering about what the neurologist was saying?
Yeah. So he gave his final statement or whatever, and you could hear it in his voice if you listen.
It kind of upset him, what he was hearing. He didn't have a rebuttal to.
Well, I mean, he just repeated his talking points basically and tried to stand his own ground. But you could see he had lost so much confidence from when he first started talking, and I almost felt bad for the guy, but not really.
I guess I need to read that book, his books, because it just seemed to me that's very interesting. But when you try to relate it to spirituality, the pursuit of religious faith or whatever, it's a bit speculative.
Right. So I mean, it's a multi-spectrum issue, right? Like, it's not just all one thing; it's layered and many different influences.
And everything.
Sure,
but there's very interesting, a very interesting hypothesis or premise, or I don't know what you would call it.
I mean, I've been arguing it for years. That's why I love it so much. I've been saying that for years. It just makes perfect sense. You're predisposed to that idea because this larger-than-life figure who you absolutely trust, don't even question, rely on for your very existence, comes gradually into focus. It's mysterious, but you just kind of a sense that it's there. You can't quite put it into words, but you just know, right? And these ideas form, this relationship paradigm forms. The neurological wiring is still going to be there when you get older. And so when somebody like Darth Dawkins asks, what's your presupposition? And Darth Dawkins imagines that his presupposition is God, but it's not. His presupposition is mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
But he
a very
transferred
withholding and angry mommy.
Yeah. Yes. So he transferred those to a surrogate when he got older.
Yeah. And he was encouraged to do so and reinforced for doing so by, his general culture.
Sure.
And the other thing is that our brains are naturally are structured to believe in superstition, like, and I don't know if you'd call it supernatural, but superstition, because you will, like, if you drive on a certain road every day to work, and you see 15 massive, horrible, fatal car accidents on that road, you will start to get this like feeling of dread and evil on this road, right? And I've had that happen with 2 Minnesota highways, 280 and Highway 7, because I saw a lot of death on those highways. And I hate going. I mean, it takes a lot of willpower for me to drive on this goddamn highways, and it's all superstition and it's and probability. So we work that way, but your mind necessarily works that way as a mammal. It's I don't want to say by design, but that's how it basically came up. And that's how our minds work. We don't think things through rationally, everything. In fact, we use rationality about maybe less than 1% of the time. Most of the time, we rely on intuition. And intuition is like a calculator in your brain that makes the best guess at something. And that's sort of like what is that's at the basis of a lot of supernatural belief and superstitious belief, because we use intuitive calculator. But it ain't really superstition, because you become accustomed to what you grew up with. And all these little pieces of evidence, like if you watch Fox News for 365 days, and that's where you're getting your input from, then those things are going to start to be the basis of your belief.
Sure they are.
You have all these little pieces of information. You will intuitively add it up, and when somebody asks you a question, you will respond like a Fox News idiot.
Yep.
Depends what your input is.
Right. So we get wired. We get wired by many different factors of influence from infancy onward.
Yeah.
And the mechanisms that wire the way that our brain works are different as we get older, but that's just an evolved mechanism that just takes over where the old wiring and programming left off. So Captain Christianity posted this last night. He said, "Imagine thinking that faith and reason conflict." And he had like hundreds and hundreds of likes, of course. And so my response to that was, that's literally the problem doctors are trying to solve for patients in insane asylums, right? Because the people who are crazy, and I guess it's not the politically correct word, but shoot me, when they have these delusions, when they have these ideas that they have this faith, right? This intuition, this faith, this unfounded sense of certainty that a certain thing is real that isn't, and it's interfering with their life in some way or impacting their relationships in some detrimental way, then they need this intervention, right? That's exactly the problem, because their faith is in conflict with reason. And I continue this. I said, now you can say that your faith is different, but rather than argue it, I'll just go back to the point. Quite obviously, faith and reason for some people are in direct contradiction. I said, hell, if what you say is true, that automatically means you'd have zero reason to think or say that any other religions are wrong. You can't propose a reason for why their faith is wrong if faith and reason are inherently harmonious. You can't do it. You're banning yourself from having arguments with people in other religions. You're banning yourself from thinking that people in other religions have to be wrong for quote-unquote reasons if faith and reason are always compatible. And then I'm extrapolating on the point, but I said, imagine someone needing to point this out to you. And I just left it at that.
Was it this video? Does science undermine belief?
No, it was and I don't know how they do it. Apparently on YouTube you can post just a comment that people see instead of a video. Just like you just post a sentence, like it's a tweet, but it's on YouTube. No idea how you do that. Okay. But I've seen some people do it. I've seen.
Isn't that the community page?
Maybe it's a community page. I've seen other content creators do it, so that's where I responded. And he never said anything, and he's not going to say anything. But yes, his content in terms of philosophy and apologetics are some of the best ones out there, but they still suck, and they're so easy to topple. And I honestly feel like a lot of times when atheists argue with these people, they're pulling punches. They're going easy on them to create the illusion that there's sport here to keep it interesting. That's just what I feel when I watch these debates. Because the fundamentalists get away with so much shit, and the atheists don't bat an eye like they don't even notice. I'm like, come on, you noticed that, right? You noticed. And it's just, who cares, right? Because this is the big grift, and we know it. But no, I just wanted to share that my thoughts
under the community tab, and there are 339 comments. So I don't know where you are, but
I don't know. I'm in there somewhere.
But I would, if I scroll to the bottom of that, it's going to take me all week.
He didn't block you.
I don't know. I mean, he might have blocked me. That's possible. Christian channels are known for not even enabling comments in the first place for that very reason. They don't want. There I am.
There you go.
Yeah. Doctors are trying to solve it. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
You might as well have written, "Please block me."
I'm surprised he hasn't. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't block me in chat, to be honest.
Yep.
I think he wants the engagement. I think that he realizes at this point he needs to drum up those numbers. And like Jay always points out, he's like, even people arguing with you is good as publicity. Even it just generates engagement, generates, page visits, and maybe that's what he needs right now. So I think that's the reason why he's not giving me any grief.
Yeah, that's why I won't block anybody other than guys that are really gross or whatever.
Yeah, that's why we decided not to block you, James.
Yeah, we said
we had a long meeting about that. It got heated.
It lasted 3 hours.
Hey, that's like the best thing. That's the best compliment ever. I've never been important enough for 3 hours worth of anything, including insults.
Yeah, we called it the A-person problem.
Yeah, the A-person problem.
A-person.
Is he really a person? I don't know.
That's why I had to change my name. But technically, it's a disclaimer.
The whole thing about faith, Saul Cordova, evolution is just faith. And when they say that, what the fuck are they saying exactly? They're saying that it's a bad thing, faith. But then faith has two different two different ideas behind it. One of them is believing in something without evidence, right?
Right.
But I don't think anybody really does that. We have that intuitive background, those little pieces, that we basically lots of little one-off things in our past that have led us to this belief. And we have faith that is true without really going over and getting all of those elements, a list of them, right? A list of all of our evidence and all of our beliefs. So faith is kind of like trust. Like you have trust in something. So there's two different ways of looking at faith. So when the Christian uses faith, he means the trust part, right? The I trust. Right. But when he uses faith on a person that believes in evolution, he's reverting to the other so it's equivocation.
This almost word for word, Aaron Ross said the same thing on Jefferson Spatchcock's stream the other night.
Oh, good. Yeah,
I'm having deja vu right now.
That was a good stream.
Yeah.
I didn't had a time to watch all of it yet. But
I liked his angry snake.
Aaron's been saying that for years, though. Like Aaron's been saying that this is an equivocation. They'll talk about how you just have faith in evolution or the Big Bang or whatever science thing that we can empirically prove, and they're saying that to associate some sort of negative connotation to it, without realizing then that just means that the same negative connotation could be associated to faith in their instance, and then that's when they just change what they mean by faith because they're equivocating.
Yeah, but I have faith in evolution. I mean, so what? I have faith in chemistry.
That's why when they say, well, you just have faith in evolution, I say, I do have faith in its truth. What do you mean by that? That doesn't bear on whether it is actually true or not. That's all you have to say. And then they'll just, and then they don't know what else to do.
Right.
Well, and when they say, well, therefore, evolution is a religion or whatever, then you have to say, well, is religion just faith?
Yeah. But I would also point out a very distinct difference in. Let's assume, for sake of argument, that we both have faith. The difference is that you treat your faith as a virtue, and I treat my faith as a conditional based on the evidence.
Yeah.
If the evidence points to something else, then I will just throw out my quote-unquote faith. But you will keep your faith regardless of the evidence.
It's a sin to lose faith, but if I lose faith in evolution, then I'll have adopted hopefully a stronger, more competitive theory, which would have to probably rhyme with evolution, if not be practically the same thing, but still.
Well, everything that's true in evolution, it's not that evolutionary theory couldn't be supplanted, it's just that in the instance that it were supplanted, everything that we already know is true in evolution is going to remain true. It's not, that's the thing. When they think of evolution being false, they think of all the things that we've empirically and demonstrably shown to be objectively true, literally hundreds of thousands of times over in a variety of different laboratory experiments over well over 100 years all across the planet. All those same things are going to stay true. It's not like all that's somehow going to end up being false.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
Tyson.
That was a great response, Ness. What you came up with is pretty good. So.
Hey, Leo. Would you happen to know anything, or kind of changing the subject if you don't mind, Speed? But
oh no, physics and cosmology. Oh fuck. Okay, go ahead.
So Maddox, actually, going back to Maddox again, he brought this up to me the other day, and I haven't really thought about it that much, I'll admit, but I just want to pick at your brain.
It's okay. Later. I don't think much about the things that he says either.
Yeah. Fair enough. Do you know anything about this whole universal wave function thing he's been going off about lately?
More than he does, yes.
Okay. Would you mind kind of explaining that, I guess?
It's a heterodox idea in physics that's not exclusively, but is largely connected to Hugh Everett's quote-unquote many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, where the whole universe is just in every possible path through which it could evolve is all contained in sort of one wave function that describes everything, a sort of universal wave function.
Okay. So he's
I don't
pretty much
think there is
just
such a
sticking
thing,
to that one interpretation then, right? It's not like a I'm pretty sure it's not.
It would
like
depend on the
an
context he's
accepted
using
thing.
it. Well, yeah, no, it's not an accepted thing, but whether he's using it with reference to the Everettian Foundation or something else, I would need to know the context in which he's using it.
It's really interesting that quantum mechanics have so many interpretations. Like I don't think there is any other fields of science where you have similar quote-unquote interpretations. Like are these interpretations potentially testable to figure out which one is
most of them
better?
are.
All right.
So what I've heard is that shit happens in particles, but what I'm hearing now is shit happens in waves.
Yeah.
Well, technically it's both, but whether everything is always a wave, it's just that there are instances where we can mathematically describe these waves in a particle-like way.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, waves are how physicists use mathematics to describe physical states, right? Physical or basically a progression of states, not a state, but a progression of states. And a state, when something collapses into a particular state, we would call that a particle or a collapse. But there are really no waves and particles. There's something else that
there's just waves.
We intuitively can't. Waves in what? But
waves in fields.
Okay. And what's a field?
Now the question, fields of what?
A field is just something that has a non-zero energy or a non-zero degree of freedom present at every point in it.
Yeah, which is a mathematical description
of a physical thing that possesses a physically real non-zero quantity at every point in it.
What I'm saying, Leo, is that intuitively.
I think you are confusing the map for the place, Speed.
What's that?
I think you are confusing the map for the place, Speed.
Map for the place, right?
The
well,
map.
That's what I'm saying. When we think of it as waves or particles, we are confused because it is something a little bit trickier than that, and we don't have intuitive capabilities. And when we use word like waves,
we don't need intuition. We have mathematics.
Right, and that's the best that we can
But
do.
Mathematics is describing a physically real thing that's physically there objectively and independently of our ability to measure it mathematically.
But we have no way to intuitively apprehend whatever is there. And
we don't need to. We can just use math.
Well, okay, when people talk about the wave collapsing, okay, I don't think wave
functions actually collapse. I don't think that's...
No, they don't. That isn't what happens. It basically...
Well, it could be, but probably not.
It settles down to a state.
Is it non-locality, Leo, or is it something else?
Well, that's the measurement problem. The idea that we can't observe superpositions is the measurement problem. Anytime you try to observe a superposition, you don't get a superposition. You get an actual eigenstate.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the quote-unquote collapse, right?
Yes.
Hey, Leo, real quick, Leo. There's a link I put in private chat as well as public chat to Dr. Becky Smethurst's YouTube channel, where she talks about Smethurst, whatever, about the crisis in cosmology and some preliminary thing that the web
James Webb Space Telescope, yeah.
Yeah, if you could look that over at some point and maybe address it on your channel or just whatever, or send an email.
I got to be honest. The reason I haven't addressed this quote-unquote crisis in cosmology is particularly because there's people like her already doing it.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood what she was talking about better.
Is this an actual crisis, or is this like...
No.
She called it a minor crisis.
It's not really a crisis at all.
Our
cosmological model is incomplete, a thing cosmologists have known about since there's been cosmologists.
Yeah. I prefer the Hubble tension to be what it's called, because it is an issue that we need to resolve, but isn't like completely destroying everything we thought we knew, at least to my understanding.
I think it's a problem that it gets represented as a crisis, because what it basically means is science don't know everything yet. That's the crisis, apparently, right?
Right, because it makes good headlines. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, I watched that video last night, Mike, with the 2% difference and the 10% variance.
Yeah, it's a small. I mean, it's outside the error bar, so we got to figure that out. But it's not a significant difference.
Well, what's this crisis about? Do you know, Leo? What this quote-unquote crisis is about?
Well, there's like 50 million different ones. There's one that has to do with the differences in how we can measure the expansion rate of space-time. We measure it one way, we get 67 kilometers per second per megaparsec. I think that's when we utilize the cosmic microwave background. But then when we utilize standard candles, we get 72 kilometers per second per megaparsec. And then people are like, oh, it's only a difference of 5 kilometers per second per megaparsec. Yeah, and that's really, 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 really fucking huge, actually. Is the thing that they miss.
Yeah, cosmic scale is very huge.
And then there's another one about that the James Webb has revealed that galaxies formed much, much earlier than we thought, which isn't really that big of a problem because humans really don't know all that much about galaxy formation. That's one of the areas that, like with supermassive black holes, we don't really know how supermassive black holes form either.
Didn't they reveal that galaxies tend to form from the bottom up, like it's?
I have no idea. I don't study galaxy formation.
Yeah. That's what's thought to happen, but yeah, there's still some areas we need to figure out. Well, I think the early galaxies thing, assuming that further measurements do confirm that they are at those extreme distances, therefore ages, it could have some. I've been reading recently. It could have some interesting consequences for what we think about. For example, one possibility is dark matter may behave differently than we think, and that may allow galaxies to form more easily than we thought they could. Another possibility is the mass of the galaxy, for example, instead of because obviously you can't take a scale and measure the mass of a galaxy all the way out there. You have to base it off of the intensity of the light that you receive. And it could either be there's lots of small stars that are putting out all this light and making it appear massive, or it could be just a bunch of a smaller number of really bright big stars, more massive stars that could actually potentially be population-free stars that we've been looking for a while. So it's exciting possibilities to look into right now once further measurements are done.
Oh, by the way, Leo, did you get on Twitter? I sent you a talk on YouTube that I recently have seen. Did you also not see it or not yet?
I think I did, but I think I've seen that video already.
All right. I think I remember you talking about like how gravity is not a fundamental force; it's more like an emergent property. I think, yeah,
because there's a handful of physicists.
This reminded me of that.
And there's a handful of physicists that want to talk about gravitons, which I feel quite confident in saying don't exist, because gravity isn't a quantum field theoretical thing, and it isn't. It's not even a force now. So it's certainly not a fundamental interaction like electromagnetism is. That's just not what gravity is. It doesn't have a particle.
It's a consequence of curvature, right? A consequence of curvature of space-time.
Well, that is what gravity is. It's not that gravity is a consequence of that. Gravity is that is a consequence of the interaction of mass energy with space-time. Now, we don't know why space-time why mass energy interacts with space-time in a way that geometrically curves it. We have no idea why, because we don't know what gravity is or how it works at the quantum scale. And it's probably emergent from more fundamental quantum mechanical structures or processes rather than it being its own separate quantum mechanical thing like electromagnetism is.
Do you think that there is? Do you think it's a emergence from the three fundamental forces, or an emergence
Probably not.
from something else?
I think it's emergent probably from entanglement and the notion of entropy. So, because I think that thermodynamics is also not a fundamental thing. Thermodynamics, I believe, also emerges out of the quantum realm. And there's actually a lot of work starting in this area, and it's called quantum thermodynamics. Because there are certain thermodynamic things that elementary particles kind of seem to ignore. So it's likely that thermodynamics probably isn't even itself fundamental. And so gravity could be significantly more tied to thermodynamics than we think, at least at the quantum scale. Who knows, though?
Yeah, it's also interesting that black holes can be almost entirely from their entropy. Like the surface area is.
See, and that's the thing. Like we can use primarily thermodynamics to understand black holes, and we can relate a certain gravitational aspect. I think we can relate the mass of a black hole, and you can represent it in some way utilizing
information,
statistical mechanics. I think you can give it a statistical. And so I think that Juan Moldacena and later Leonard Susskind are onto something with this holographic principle. I don't think that the ADS-CFT correspondence is likely to be true. But I think that it's right. You know, it's the first step down the right path to really figuring this whole thing out.
Sounds right to me. I agree with Leo.
Mm-hmm.
Totally do.
But if you understand gravity, then the standard model will basically remain the same. You think the standard model?
Well, probably not. I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be subsumed.
But there won't be any new. There won't be any new fundamental particles, you think, or maybe some
probably not, but
dark matter, maybe, or I don't know. If
I think dark matter is a particle, so yeah, I think there's missing particles.
Right. We know what the standard model is definitely incomplete, but that doesn't mean that everything, like Leo was saying earlier, we thought we knew about it is wrong.
I also don't think gravity is going to be, explained by the addition of a particle. I don't think that's how it's going to work.
It does. There's also one thing does space-time itself have something like particles, or is it just space-time?
I don't think so.
Just a field.
Well, I don't think space-time. I suppose maybe you could consider space-time a field. It's in some sense, but I also think space-time is emergent.
All right.
I think that space-time, thermodynamics, and gravity all relate to each other more closely than we think, and they all emerge in related ways from more fundamental underlying quantum mechanical processes and structures.
It's interesting.
To test.
It's also interesting how the concept of information is the same as entropy, basically, right? Like the formula for Shannon entropy is very similar to the formula of Boltzmann entropy.
Well, yeah, we can I think that just has to do with how we can represent entropy as bits of information and how they behave, and you can sort of get the concept of thermodynamics or certain thermodynamic concepts out of that, something like that. But yeah, I think it is kind of uncanny, nonetheless.
Well, we must be cautious, though, because sometimes uncanny things can be coincidences, but who knows?
And it's also the case that gravitational waves also travel at the speed of light. It's also connected to light. Of course, the speed of light is fundamental to pretty much everything, right? So it wouldn't be surprising that the gravity is also subject to the same
speed
constant.
of light really isn't the speed of light per se. Right. It also applies to gluons, to like you said, gravitational waves. It's more the speed of causality per se, of how fast information can flow through space-time.
I prefer to say it's the maximum speed of information propagation through space-time.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
There was also another recent news that they made a very small wormhole.
They didn't. Right? They did not. They did not make a very small wormhole.
Leo actually did a video on that.
What was the news then? The recent news about that?
It was about them utilizing entanglement between, I think, what was it, superconducting circuits or something like that, to transmit information and then study the dynamics of the transmission of this information, which behaved in ways that would be similar to how information would move through an Einstein-Rosen bridge. But they did not make an Einstein-Rosen bridge. They didn't even we don't even know if Einstein-Rosen bridges can actually be made. We know that they are theoretically possible. There's nothing in general relativity, as far as we know, that says you can't do it, but we don't know that it is something that actually occurs in reality.
Well, because, I mean, there are lots of things in general relativity solutions that are theoretically possible, but that don't happen to exist in our particular reality.
Mm-hmm.
Physics is weird.
Yeah, it's complicated. Yeah. It's
no, it's
nuanced.
not complicated. It all boils down to a magic man in the sky. Haven't you guys been listening?
It would also be so much easier that way.
If life could be so easy.
Fair.
Still around speed?
I think speed is... Oh.
I'm chilling.
He's chilling.
Yeah.
Of course, Gerd gets here now, and then, I might join in 30 minutes. This fucking guy, man. Wants everybody to join his streams, but then when it's time for him to join other people's streams, I'm busy right now, guys. I can't. I might be able to in like an hour. It's like, Jesus, fuck, bud.
This is what happens when you get famous from being mentioned by Apologia. This is what happens.
No shit.
Yeah, Apologia did mention him recently, didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he also say, "Who the hell is that"?
Yeah, but then he re-released a video where he now recognizes who Gur is and thinks he's a great guy. So I was really pleased to see that.
I'll have to email Apologia and straighten him out and let him know what the real story is about Gur. Yeah, I got all the dirt on Gur. Yeah, I got pictures. I got like a video. I got everything.
What happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas, Gur. You were lied to.
Pete, I was wondering, if you are interested, there is one point in the video that I think is really interesting to have as a preview. I would think.
Okay.
If you can play the video at 13 minutes and 46 seconds.
Let's see if I can find it.
And I think that also something has to do with Dimitri. He has a challenge for, and I think that's something that relates to that as well.
Let me go ahead and pop that over here.
Hey guys, I think I'm gonna drop off for a little bit, but I'll be watching from the side chat.
Okay,
so
we might
thanks
not
for having me on.
We might not be in too long here, but
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good chatting with you.
13 minutes and 46 seconds, and then play it for about 3 minutes, and then that's basically the most important part of his presentation, to me at least. So yeah, there we go. 30 minutes, 46 seconds. Yeah.
So, of course, life is not made of complete sentences. It's made of being in a hurry and speaking in shorthand. And so, when these questions are expressed in shorthand, they're often put forth as a kind of an unfortunate dichotomy. Dichotomy between whether metabolism or genes.
Can you pause for a moment?
Sure.
The whole slide is not shown. It's a bit. Can you maybe? I think the slide. The slide is cut off at the edges, so I don't know if it's.
It's pretty amazing, but okay. How about that?
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. For some reason with Firefox, OBS keeps changing the fucking the size and location of the video. I don't know what the hell's going on. New to Firefox.
Debate, okay, for an approximation, is really about the organization and the capacity of information flows. In the debate, as cartooned, the metabolism first point of view is the one I was telling you earlier about conditional entropies. The idea being that the selection of metabolism was done before you have higher order molecular systems. The alternative point of view is one that really takes a kind of a brute Darwinism direct from modern biology and tries to impose it right from the beginning and says control flow from macromolecules is the reason anything exists. An interesting thing which I want to get to is that while the two sides have very different approaches to information organization, something that they both tend to do, I think more through oversight than anything else, is they tend to conflate the macromolecular world as being folded in physical structure and also coded with a code achieved by selection. That's where I want to say something to you that I think will be new today, claim that those two should not be conflated, they should be separated. That in fact, there's at least a 3-level Venn diagram. The metabolism first idea is the one that I already showed you, but we should in fact separate folded from coded matter as categories. So why, in a world where people can disagree on many other things, would they make this conflation in this way? I think it comes from the fundamental difficulty of figuring out how to situate the central dogma for control flow that we know from biological evolution in a larger physical theory. So the central dogma was articulated by Francis Crick to try to capture the role of genetic and catalytic systems in a Darwinian paradigm for evolution by natural selection. The idea of the dogma is that variation enters when DNA is replicated, or in viral life cycles, RNA. There is control flow where everything is a template for everything else, where DNA can make RNA, RNA encodes protein catalysts, which then catalyze the reactions, and the molecular substrate, which is organized by the catalyst, is then the material out of which all this is made. So the dogma binds all of these steps into an unbreakable ring of just the nastiest chicken-egg dependencies, because that's not super complicated, but that really is. Now, the discovery in the early 1980s that RNA could be catalytic created a seismic shift in the field, and everyone went running in the same direction because they thought, aha, we can get away from the hardest part of this, which is the RNA to peptide relation. But they kept one commitment of the central dogma, which was the downward control flow. Variation is introduced a la Darwin in an a priori unbiased fashion. We have to wait until it gets to the expression of phenotype to decide whether it was good or bad, which means we need all of this material to generate phenotype. It is important in this that folding, which actually makes usable structures, has no agency. It presents sequences for selection, but it does not select the sequences within this Darwinian control loop that has been taken from modern life and sort of imposed on early chemistry. The discovery of RNA catalysis may allow us to shorten the loop, but it does not tell us whether it should be broken. So the next question, should we, and if so, can we, break this ring at folding? So let me give you two approaches to the answer. This one's just kind of evocative. Think about states of matter. Think about condensed matter, solids. Certainly, we could make condensed matter by putting every atom in its place with an atomic force microscope that we paid several $1 million to purchase. But do we really think that condensed matter only exists by virtue of the fact that it could be assembled with an AFM? No. Other way around. And yet we do think that way about folded proteins, folded RNA. We contextualize them only as consequences of sequences which are produced by a selection model. So do we really mean that, or are we just being sort of thoughtless and hurried? But let me give you another argument that I think is better. This one from...
I think that's a good enough for now.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta watch this. This is cool.
Yeah, it's that also, like, for me, that was a very interesting note to make. That folding of like a folded protein or folded RNA is not completely dependent on the coding system. Perhaps folded RNA and folded peptides predate the emergence of the genetic code.
Right. Well, that's kind of the way I've been thinking about it, which is interesting. So I'm surprised that anybody would think of it differently. Anyway, I'll have to watch this.
Sure.
And we will.
We can do a more thorough review with Dessel. I think it would be nice to have Dessel also.
Well, set up a joint email and bug me, because if you don't bug me lately, I've been like busy as fuck and busy with other things other than YouTube. So set up an email and we'll try to keep it going until we can get old Speed to start a fucking live stream. Okay.
All right.
I've been reluctant lately to stream for some reason. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, but my reluctance leads me to want to shoot it in the head.
I was going to say maybe the reluctance has something to do with those mushrooms.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
I like fungi. Fungi. I like fungi.
You're a fun guy who loves fungi.
I'm a fun guy. That's what I am. Okay.
Perhaps you can also have Dimitri have his thoughts on this as well. Yeah.
Yep.
If he has the time, like I would imagine that Dimitri is more busier than.
Yeah. He probably has the time around Christmas, but I've been. I need to talk to Demeter. So anyway, okay.
Is it Dimitri or Demeter? Sorry.
Demeter.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you guys say it over there.
It's Dimiter, so I would think it would be Demeter. Dimitri would be like with a Y, right?
Yep. Dimitri is with an I, right? Dimitri.
Yeah. Sorry for that.
Yep. Anyway, okay. So can we?
Yes.
What I got to pay to get out of here?
Mm-hmm.
So should we end it?
Sure.
Okay.
I just want to say thanks for stopping by, everybody, and thanks for hanging with us.
Yeah, and God, I'm going to try to do more streams. I really promise. Okay. Goodbye, cruel world.